What's going on? Welcome into TFEs alongside my husband, Dalen Cuff. I'm Kelsey Riggs Cuff. We are back. We are healthy. We are, I was going to say recovered, but I don't know, like recovered from the lack of sleep and all of the activities. Probably not. But it's been an up and down 2 weeks for the fam.
Do you want to explain the down and the down part? Would you like to break that down?
Yeah.
Why you missed last week's episode?
Yeah. Somehow on this podcast, I'm always talking about throw up.
That's why I was letting you do it. It's your thing.
Because Dace and I got the stomach bug last week on Tuesday, the Tuesday before Halloween. And it was awful, not from a like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified of throw up, awful, but like seeing him go through that was terrible. It was just so sad and so scary for a lot of reasons at first until we figured out what was going on. So Dace and I got sick. You continue to impress me with your immune system and
Good immunity.
Sleep in the bed with us and help me hold him while he's throwing up. And you stay fairly well. Now, we do think you ended up getting it a little bit on Saturday in retrospect.
Friday into Saturday. Not Saturday. Friday night, I did not feel good overnight. Wobbled a little bit. I believe that was more about the meal consumed than anything else.
I don't know why he has such a hard time seeing what's in front of him. Like, we had the stomach bug, and then to further elaborate, my incredible parents came up to help keep Dace this weekend while you were gone, and then also to surprise Lyra since they didn't get to be here for her birthday. So they surprised her on Halloween, which was just so sweet. It's just going to be a core memory, I think, to see her little reaction when they showed up. But then they got sick on Saturday. But this man, when he was feeling a little iffy, still believes that he didn't get in
all right,
at
so
all.
let's break that down real quick. Dace was ill for a good 5 or 6 hours, from about 8 o'clock to what's up?
3 hours.
It was 8 o'clock to about 2 a.m. I mean, I was one laying with him laying on me at one point.
It wasn't puking anymore.
But all right, he was not well for hours, but then by the next day it was good. The next morning, like a normal time, you were rocked for about 36 hours, 24 to 36. Does that seem fair?
Well, my stomach was only upset for like 3 hours, but then the next day I just was wiped.
Okay. Your mom wiped for over a day. Your dad was hurt. If I had the same thing, wouldn't have I been at all affected? Like, I got up, I didn't feel good overnight. Let's say pulled the trigger, for those who understand what happened there. Just wanted to make myself feel better. Went back to sleep, woke up, kind of worked out, did like normal, like I was pretty functional. I didn't do it. I went to visit my brother and my buddy in New York like we had planned, and that day went as planned. Like, I did not do anything abnormal.
I think it's because you have a
and
better immune system. I think you got it, but it didn't hit you as hard.
I don't know why you want me to be sick, but okay.
I don't, but the writing's on the wall. If you're here and everybody got it and you felt a little iffy and we all ate the same meal, I don't think it was a meal, but whatever. I know. Yeah. That was really good. I'm really glad that, I think we're in the clear there too. So we're healthy. So we were going to try to make the podcast happen last week. And then with that, and then the chaos, fun chaos of Halloween. How much did you enjoy Halloween?
Halloween was great. It was really cool. It's like our little neighborhood down here goes off. There's people everywhere. There's kids everywhere. She's running different groups of friends and going from one group, run around with them, and then be like, oh, I'll talk to them, and then run around with them. And we got to hang with a bunch of friends we become friends with that have their kids around the same age, and different people's houses, a couple different parties. It was awesome. We had a great time. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really great too. It was cool and so different from because Dace was just like a little potato last year. He was just doing whatever we did. And then this year, in his little dragon costume that of course they were picked out to match her My Little Pony. Sparky the dragon, seeing him like go through this like evolution of like I have a video, and as Dace and my mom are walking up to the front door, she's like, are you getting a picture? I'm like, I'm getting a video. And I say, you're our very first house ever trick-or-treating for him. And within 1 second he goes, starts crying. I think he was scared that we were like dropping him off and leaving him with a stranger. So the evolution of him through the night of like crying at the first house, next house he would walk up and people would hold out the bucket and he would just like look at it like, I don't trust you. What are you doing? I'm not coming with you. And then by the end of it, he would do his little crawl and he finally took a piece out. A lot of times he would just walk up there and look in the bucket and look at the people. That was fun to see. And then seeing him and her trick or treat together was really special. And then her running around with all of her friends friends. It was just cool. It was like a just, I think, like cool and like heartwarming experience to like see and really like get to be a part of everything that was happening here in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's we're fortunate to live where we do and have a great neighborhood and a lot of friends here, and it was awesome. Like everything about it was great. Like your boy here got a little stressed about the planning behind it because I was not involved, but I didn't make it as easy on you. Like, what are we doing? What's going on? Why are we not leaving? But it all worked out and it was great. So thank you for that. And,
do you think that's actually your takeaway? Because you get like, you're a planner. Like I'll never forget our first international trip, getting an email that said like, hey baby, here's what I'm thinking. And it was like, this is the country, this is the plan, this is the country, this is the plan, here's the places that we can go. And I was like, oh my God, who is this amazing man? When that happens, I love it. But then when it's like the day to day, like, hey, we don't have to have everything line item for Halloween. Like I've talked to some people, we're going down there. Do you think that your actual takeaway is we didn't have it planned to a T the way you would plan it, but that it was still a really good night and you could use that moving forward?
No. Would I like to, but I'm not going to lie to you. I would I like to? Yeah. I think there's things from that, yes. I do think when Lyra's involved, and it is these holidays, and especially in this beginning, this beginning of orders where we have her for one holiday and then not again for another 2 years. So we'll miss next year, so it'll be the following year. And I feel like and this is just the second time around, if you will, on this carousel of these planned things. There's some like pressure in it, and I want to know that like I know we said well we'd see this friend and we'd see that friend, and we did build it up that this area has all her classmates that she wants to see and is excited to see. And I think I'm a little bit of a control freak in the planning to let the planning go. We've done this before in the pod. I have to be very confident the person I'm relinquishing command to is of equal or greater value in this capacity than I am. And there are people that I know that are like that, and I'm good, and I'll just take a back seat. It's not always your strong suit, and I just want to know like what we were doing and why we didn't know when we were leaving. And you wanted to go to, I thought, one of your like another friend's little gathering that had really little kids, like more Dace's age. So if we're fitting that in, if we want to do that, how's a compound with Lyra, and what do we like? I just wanted to have some more structure around it, but it worked out very well. And I think for future years, I'll understand fully how things work up there too, and what goes on like in that street, in that neighborhood. I think last year we went, and because Dace was a nugget, but there was no Lyra. So we were just like hanging out with our friends, having drinks and like watching kids run around and talking to them. And all their kids are running around. We were just kicking it. That was like the definition of just being like hanging out. This was different. And I think that's more so because the pressure that I put on it to make sure that she has a good time.
No, I agree with you completely because I feel it too. And I think we both operate in this way of like, whether it's a day off that we actually have together from school, like we had a fun Tuesday as a family, and we don't have as many of those just because of our work schedule and the weekends and the way that the orders were written because of that. So I do think that we're both aware that we put more pressure on the time that we have because we know that it's limited, and we know, like you said, we don't have next Halloween. It'll be another one. But yeah, I do think it was a good learning experience for us, and hopefully you, that things don't always have to be line itemed and they can.
It's not line item. Here's the real deal is give me a departure time and a meeting point. I think I could start there. Like that's just like that to me is like table stakes.
I did. It was like we're leaving between like 5:30 and 6, and this is where we're going. And you're like, how do we not know this? And I'm like, we don't need this.
But even that, we like okay, if that was the
back
point.
And
We got out of the car, and then we said there were kids started trick or treating. So I want to go to these houses.
Did you enjoy the ride?
I was skeptical of the ride until Lyra met up with her friends, honestly.
Which was 2 seconds after we got there.
No, because we had Dace then get out of the car. You started trick-or-treating with Dace. That was the first crying scene. And I'm like, all right, I don't know what's going to happen here with him. I don't know how this is going to work. She's wants to run to the next house. How do we progress this thing along? And we ran to the next house, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to take Lyra forward, which I did. And she ran into her friends. And then we were separated for a little bit and then got back together, and it all worked out.
Right.
But yeah, I think part of that was me being a little antsy and be like, I don't know what this is doing. I'm just going to go. Because we're on a street that's like 80 yards long.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that probably didn't have to happen. I think that we could have maybe had them trick or treat their first couple houses together a little longer before we like felt the stress of, oh my God, we're going to miss everything because we were there early.
I know she loves her little brother and is obsessed with him and wants to do that, but she also was really excited to see her friends. So
I know, and we made both of them happen.
Well, one of them has no clue it's happening. One of them's for us. It's having her and Dace trick or treat together. The other thing is just for her. So I was thinking, it is Halloween. She's the priority in my mind. Like, let's get her with her friends.
Yeah, which we did.
Well, yeah.
She had a great time, as she told us many times that night when we got home and the next day and talking all about it. Mom and Dad had a great time getting to see all the kids and be a part of that until the next day when they got sick. So I've apologized profusely for that. Which my dad said, if it makes you feel better, I knew that we were going to get sick before we even came up, and we still came up. And then he says, I wouldn't change anything. There's not one single thing that I would change to have had this time with that little boy and that little girl. And I was like, thank you so much. Thank you. Do you need any more ginger ale? So yeah, I mean, I guess we didn't do like official TFEs off the top, but we kind of hit a little bit of everything. Do you have any TFEs?
Yeah, I got a few.
Okay.
I think like from a thoughts thing, I feel like coming off our last pod, I almost feel like this is like an incomplete homework assignment. I feel like I didn't do my assignment as thoroughly as I wanted to, or spend the time as much as I wanted on it. So I have like a thought of like, that's how I think and feel right now. I'm a little bummed, and this is why we had to take Lyra. I had to take Lyra to school, which we don't normally do, put her on the bus, but she had a little project that we didn't want to get, busted up on the bus. So I'll just drop her off. It's a 5-minute ride down the road. But I then had to take Dace to his daycare spot. Obviously didn't tell you this because I just got home. Then we started this. It was really sad when I dropped her off. It's such an abrupt goodbye there. And we're not going to see her again until Sunday. And we're recording this on Thursday afternoon. It's just such a different experience we have at the bus. The bus is pulling up. We're all hugging and kissing.
Miss Maria.
Miss Maria waves. And then Dace is there. It's a very family-focused thing. And it's really sweet. And every time she leaves and she's not coming back for a couple days, I turn around, I'm a little bummed, and that's kind of stinks. Well, she's getting kind of like, they open the door, like the lady's trying to open the door, I unlock it, maybe a kiss, but you get your backpack, it's kind of awkward, you're handing her the big project thing, and I was just like, I love you, bye, and then she's just gone. And what I realized I didn't say and she didn't do was say goodbye to her little brother. And then he goes, ah! And he starts crying like super hard, and it's a roundabout. And I'm like, should I stop? There's cars behind me. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I just drive. He's now crying. And I think he's crying because she just left. And he's like, what the heck just happened here? And she didn't, like, she always says goodbye to him, always gives him big kisses and hugs. And it's just like in the frantic moments. Then I was like bummed out for him. We pull over. I help him stop crying. Then we get back on the road and go to drop him off at Denise's, and he was fine. But it was like just put you in a like kind of just a bummed mindset. And then being always like reminding, it's a reminder of what's important, and some of those rituals that we do when she goes to school, saying her affirmations, how she gets on the bus, like those are, I don't know, connective things we do as a family that matter to myself, to you, to her, and obviously in some regard now to Dace. And that was just it was like a weird. I just felt like bummed. I was like, man, that kind of sucked. That was a really crappy way to kick off the day. That
makes me sad. Because I think that's the reality of kind of our situation in co-parenting, and something that we've talked about before. Like when Lyra's not here, like Dace, every time we walk by her room now, points and goes, Sissy, and wants to go in there. And so I've said before, like, it's going to be hard. I mean, he's obsessed with her. When she wakes up in the morning, she like, sometimes it turns into tag because he wants to hug and kiss her and be all over her so much. The other day, she and I got up at the same time, and you guys had already been down there. And I'm like, dang, Dace, can I get any like hug and love? It doesn't, I don't even exist because he hasn't seen his sissy all night and he's so excited. And that's something that we've talked about a little bit before, but that I'm like, makes me like sad for Dace because, and obviously for Lyra, but she has obviously, when she goes to her mom, she has a great time. So not sad for her in that regard, but this has always been her life where part of it is Dace is not here since he was born, or part of it, she's not with him. And I get that it's always been Dace's life since he's born too, but as he gets older, I know he'll get used to it, but there is this like sadness just seeing like how much he loves her when he starts to like understand but not comprehend, like, why isn't she here on those days, you know, and can't not being around her. And that, I don't know, there's like a sadness to that I think you probably experienced a little bit this morning. If it makes you feel any better, I kind of forgot he was going. And when we were inside, I was like, give Dace a kiss, tell him bye. She gave him a kiss. And then I was like, oh, he's actually going with you. You can tell him bye again in the car. So she did kind of tell him bye. Dace obviously didn't remember that.
Yeah, the blood curdling scream did not help. I was like, oh no, whoops, it was a big faux pas by Daddy. Sorry, and just to remind Leah. And again, there was a lot going on, and she's trying to carry, and her bag's heavier today when she goes back to her mom. There's more stuff in there,
and we haven't done the car drop off in a while. So
we haven't done the car drop off since the beginning of last year.
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't miss the bus at all last year. So never one of those. I got to take her to school.
Right,
panic moves.
Right.
So yeah, it'd been a minute.
Yeah. I'm sorry that happened. I'm sure Dace recovered nicely as soon as he got to Miss Denise's. That was sweet. This morning I said to him, do you want to go to Miss Denise's today? And he's like, and he just like lit up immediately, which that is, I think we're in, as challenging as things are about the stage that we're in with him. Like there's so many cool things about the fact that he's starting to understand and try to communicate and be like a whole little human that, you know, can just get very mad. In the middle of the night last night when he woke up, because he always pees through his diaper and wakes up. We've got to start putting Pampers on him. I was thinking that last night as I was changing them. I'm like, is this why he can't sleep through the night? Because he wakes up and he's soaking wet and freezing. Anyways,
doesn't sound comfortable.
I'm feeding him his bottle to try and get him to like go back down, and he's drinking it, but it's the nipple of the bottle is doing that thing where it kind of sucks in, you know, and so he can't get the milk out as much. And so I'd helped him a couple times with it and loosened it so there was less suction. So I go to try and touch it, and he just touches my hand and goes, no. I'm like, and that was it. And then kept drinking, but it was like so serious. It wasn't like his like, no, like fits that he had. It was like a whole little human response. Like, no, well, I don't need you.
Well, I mean, his tone can be different with some of those things.
That's what it was. But it was like a different tone. That's why I was like, oh.
But the problem is he doesn't say yes. So his no's are yeses too sometimes. Yeah. So he may have been
but not.
No, like yes. Yeah,
no. He was not. He was not like a no, yes. It was very much like, nope. I got this. I don't need you right now. No. And I literally sat there and giggled to myself. I was like, okay, dude, got it. Like,
his obsession with your dad is unbelievable. It's so cool. Crazy. He like is so obsessed with him and having him hold him and like run to him like the first time he saw him. It was just like, it's crazy in that.
He hugged Dad for like, not exaggerating, like 5 to 10 minutes, like just nestled into his shoulder and wouldn't let go.
It's crazy.
I feel like they're like kindred spirits or something. Yeah. I really do. I'm not kidding. Like, I mean, he loves me. He loves you. He loves Leroy. He loves my mom. He loves your mom. He loves my sisters. But like the way that he is obsessed with my dad.
Yeah, it's different.
Is crazy.
Yeah.
That's
and he always wants to be held by your dad, like just to,
if Dad walks in, it's like, and now he's like Grump, trying to say grumpy. It's cool. Anyways, okay. My TFEs, I hear you on the thoughts about the homework assignment, because we left the last pod off saying that we were going to do our goals. We were going to do that before last week. Obviously, didn't get to that. So have done it before this week, but just didn't have as much time to spend on it as we would have liked.
In a collective sense, too. I thought I'd always, and from how we talked about it, too, I thought it would kind of be like we each kind of, you know, did our thing, thought about it, you know, wrote stuff down, and then would come together and kind of go through those things and then have some joint things, some takeaways, maybe even things change. I thought maybe like, all right, well, maybe this isn't a priority for both of us. So maybe how do we do this? Or this should be a priority for both of us, and have that dialogue about it and really kind of feel like we did it together by starting individually, and we haven't got to the collective and personally, I don't think I've spent enough time on the me either. So,
yes, I feel you. I will say I feel hopeful because we have a date night planned tonight. We have a sitter, and we're going to go grab dinner. And I think that we can talk over these in more detail, probably even tonight.
Oh, sweet. Goal setting at dinner.
Or after that. Well, no, I'm just saying, you know, like we have times where we're sitting there, like it can be, not just a productive conversation, but like a meaningful conversation too. So, and Dace will be asleep when we get home, so we could do it more about that. So
I just wanted to stare at you and tell you how hot I thought you were. That's what I wanted to do.
Well, now I hope that happens. So I'll try to dress accordingly. Emotions. I think we just hit a lot of them. I was just sad off of that story that you told me. happy that we're sitting here and doing this and that we're talking about goals, because I do think that it's super important, kind of just for where we are in life right now and some of the question marks that we have. So you mentioned it. You did some goals. I did some goals. We haven't really touched on them together. We've looked at each other's.
Can I ask you a question about them, or are you going to ask a?
Go ahead.
Because there's some like structure of how I wrote them as like personal, family, career. Mm-hmm. How did you try to like structure your thoughts in does that structure make sense? Not that we have to do the same thing. I just wondered, like, how did you even organize it? Because there's a lot to do there, I guess, and not to parse.
Are you saying that you didn't scroll all the way down and see what I wrote, or you're asking like based off of what I wrote? How did I?
I saw what you wrote, but I wasn't sure like if you wrote them thinking about this being like a personal goal, this being a whatever. Because your mind I like bucketed mine. You didn't bucket yours. I'm just saying, how did your mind?
Yeah, I liked how you bucketed yours. I did. I started with the now. That's what first I wrote. Now I wrote 1 year. I think I wrote 3 to 5, and then I wrote like 10 plus. And I think I started with like 3, 5, and then I was like, how do I differentiate this? I don't know. Let's just do 3 to 5 and 10 or more. So that's where I started with those. And then I knew that I wanted to do something that was just some kind of social media goal, because I feel like that's hanging over my head some with what are we doing social media wise for my Instagram plus the podcast stuff. What does that need to look like and want to look like? So I created a separate one for that. But other than that, I think I just like the now is where I started. And it's like, what's been on my mind? What's going to make me feel better now? What are the actionable items that I want to start doing, whether it's daily, weekly, like what can I do now? And some of them build towards a long-term thing. But what can I write down that A of all is like attainable? Because I don't want to set now goals that are like too far out of reach so that you immediately feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So that was part of it for me. And then as I looked further out, I just wanted to think of some of the things, I guess in all of them, I felt like, okay, what do I want? What do we need? What does this look like for the family? What are the financial goals and what are the career goals? So I think I thought about all of those things and listed them. I just didn't necessarily put them in the separate like career, finances, family, whatever that you did.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you putting the social media piece on there, because this is where I feel like it is a product of where we are in the world. And you obviously were much more aggressive in your social media pre us, honestly. I think okay, let's be real here. Single female social media accounts can take off much faster for different reasons. So, like, I don't understand why so many men will follow and then unfollow a hot woman if she then has a husband or a family. When your content changes, like, dudes are just checked out, and I find that interesting. So I guess my question is, as you've put all these different things on that are much more family focused now, you still have things that are just you there, and I'm sure the likes and the comments when they're just you is very different. But how do you look at kind of evolving that space, because your profile was built as a single woman in this sports business, and I think the branding or the use of it you want it to be is more mother, family, and monetize that. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So how do you view that kind of paradigm, I guess?
When I posted that we were having a baby and engaged, I think I had maybe like 60,000 followers, and within an hour I lost 500. And within a day I lost over 1,000.
That's so funny.
Just from posting that we were getting married and having a baby. Which y'all are weird. Like what? Like
we're not. We're creeps. It's like I don't know if it's weird. Like it's really understandable. Like these not. It's like it makes zero sense how this thing goes down. But it's how the male single mind is wired, or even the male apparently married or together. As long as there's a thought of this lady being something that I can have in this fantasy about or think about in a certain way. But when that is tainted, I'm out on you. I don't need your content anymore. I don't need your content anymore, apparently.
It was interesting. I was not expecting that, especially like post, unfollow immediately. I'm done with her. She's married and she's having a baby. She's of no use to me anymore. Like, okay, you guys, y'all are weird. I don't want to deal with you anyways. Please, thank you for unfollowing me. So that was interesting. I mean, I think it's like a shift that kind of happens naturally. And at this point, like people that follow me, they know that they're not getting single me, out partying it up on a boat or whatever else, single me was doing on a catamaran cruising the U.S. Virgin Islands while my coworker is just thinking about blocking me on social media, hating life.
It wasn't even funny. I watched your content, and then I would just skip by so much match because I wasn't gonna unfollow you because that might have worked. You would have known. I don't even know I don't know how to look at it. I'm an idiot. But if you would have been like, wait a minute, does he not follow me anymore? Because there were times for work things you would tag me.
You can see when people don't follow you anymore.
So I was just like, this lady, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. Like, what's going on with this life? 80% of the pictures are just her by herself. Like, blah, blah, blah. I was a curmudgeon. I was unhappy with a lot of things. I was unhappy with your social media feed too. I was the opposite of the men that we're talking about that unfollowed you.
You should have been happy. That was a great trip, and I hope that one day that we do it together.
Yeah,
It's like one of my favorite trips that we've been on.
Yeah, I would love to go anywhere. I'm glad we're going to dinner tonight. Let's just start there. I may need a nap before we get there.
But yes, that is more of what I want and want to build and want to lean into, and want to do. It's funny. I haven't even told you this. Christine texted me randomly yesterday or 2 days ago. And it was like 4 text messages and a voice memo of like, hey, okay.
So that's that's a standard interaction with you guys, though. So I don't know why you're making it sound like this is bananas. Yeah. 4 texts and a voice memo. The other day you were walking around the house. I thought you were on the phone because her voice message was so lengthy. I was like, what the hell is going on here? As you were walking around, I was like, she's on a phone call. No, she's listening to a diatribe of 8 to 12 minutes.
I literally just said her name, and the thing that pops up on here, literally it says now, Christine Williamson, someone you may know, is on TikTok. I already follow her on TikTok, first of all. So why is it sending me this? I mean, it's creepy. As soon as I said her name, that's so weird. So she sends me that. Yes, it is standard, but the content that she sent was not standard this time because she was like, this is what I was thinking about your social media. You know how we've been talking about this and this. This is what you need to do. Okay, so this story, you need to tell this, and this is the plan. Da 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 da. So of course, on my chaos and mom and dad leaving yesterday and my despair of them being gone, I didn't text her back until the next day, and I was like, love this. Can we come up with a whole social media plan?
Let's go,
we need more. Strategize. We need more content.
I don't want to hijack this real quick. I have to say it because you said the other day I said this to you yesterday, but I may as well say it to the rest of the audience as well. Look at you, look concerned. You're a great and terrible texter at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like for me, you're always responding to me. Very rarely do you not respond to me, but it's like people that you're really close with or friends, or somebody tells you like something that's great or interesting or whatever, you end up telling me about it. And then I say, well, what did you say back? Well, I haven't responded. It was 3 days ago. That person's probably like, what the hell's going on here, man? Like, okay, you have to respond when it's big things or interesting things or your best friends. You need to respond.
In this example, it was not 3 days. It was like 30 minutes. And I was like dealing with day stuff and getting mom and dad out of the house and being present.
But you'd already told us all individually what this person was doing.
Well, yeah, it's easier to tell you, but then I want to make sure that I have time to give a thoughtful response.
This isn't the only time though. This was yesterday. I mentioned it because I was like the straw that broke the camel's back. You do this quite a bit where it's been like 1, 2, or 3 days linger. And you're telling me the story. Well, you need to respond to the person that interests you, that makes you want to tell somebody about what's going on.
The problem is I respond in my brain, or sometimes I type out a text and then I get sidetracked and I don't finish it. And I didn't realize that I didn't send it. That happens too.
That's helpful to nobody, but go ahead.
Yeah, I own that. I am. Okay. And I love texting, but.
Yeah, I'm aware. All right, sorry. If I've been to hijack it.
Yeah, that was a fair hijack because it's a fair assessment. Maybe I should put that in my goals. Be a better texter. I forgot where I was even going.
Social media strategy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We don't have to dwell on that. But yeah, I do think it's more of okay, and it's like, am I doing something separate for me than the pod?
That's what I'm asking. It's more like a rebranding exercise, which is, again, I hate thinking or talking about ourselves or people or as brands, but that's the reality of what social media has created. And honestly, I've fought it for the entirety of social media's existence, and has not helped.
And now there are people who have quit all of their jobs and are making 10 times the money that they ever would have just from social media.
I'm aware.
Wild.
So
it's a weird pressure too, not interrupt you. Christine and I have talked about this as well, because you feel like if you're not doing XYZ on social media, especially when you have a job like we do in the public eye, then you feel like you're missing out. Like you feel like you're literally missing out on money because you're not maximizing this avenue where, you know, you've built up some followers and you could build up even more of a following if you did it because it's here and available to you. So there's a weird pressure too of like feeling like I'm missing out because I'm not doing enough of XYZ. But the reality is if I'm doing more of that, then I'm missing something else, life, family, work wise. So we got to figure out a better balance.
See, that's what I did my entire life, honestly. I almost used it as it was like a point of pride. Like I'm not engaging in this thing in any real way because I think there's other more productive and useful.
Yeah, that surprises me not at all.
Output of my time. But my problem with that is this business is acting like you can float above it. It's not reality. Like their executives are making decisions based on people's social media followings and how many engagements and all that stuff. Like you kind of knew that was the case, but I always thought like I'll be an exception. I'll be fine. I'm do my job well. I show up and I do the work and blah blah blah. They don't give a crap. So my point is I should have been doing that differently. And now the point now it's like, all right, even if you want to do it, part of my challenge is all right. Well, what do I do? And then it comes back to the same thing. The time piece is hard. Even if there is a motivation now or an understanding or desire to be like, all right, what do I do or we do from like a branding standpoint and a content standpoint that is at all interesting, that builds a following for us or myself or whatever, how to go about that. But that requires time, energy, sometimes maybe money. I don't know. Like there's a lot there that it's just, it is a challenge, and it's like to do it as efficiently as possible is what it has to be.
We just got to get those baby blues out there. I'm telling you. I mean, your baby blues.
I don't think people give a crap because again, the creepy women on that thing are much less than the creepy men. That's not. Then my baby blues aren't growing any following.
I don't know about that. You could be wrong, especially if we do a little family something with it. I don't know. We'll see. Let's get away from social media and talk more real life things because you know, you asked how I did mine. I saw how you did yours and I liked that. Was there anything like as you were going through it that like I feel like a lot of my things, especially the now things or, you know, even some of the long-term things, like those are things I knew that I wanted to do. I wanted to write down. Was there anything that was like surprising for you or that, you know, you're in sitting down and taking the time, you were kind of like, okay, this could lead to X, Y, Z?
Yeah, I think the one surprising one, well, let me back up real quick. I think there was things I wrote down that I need to revisit and think about. But the stuff as far as like us and figuring out like our goals, like I think that's really important in the ones that I like want us to find how we focus on. Because there's things that are like that I can control or I could do that are, or once you understand, like this is my goal and this is your goal. Like if I want to read 20 to 30 pages of a book a day, I can find the time. I can find the 15, 20 minutes to do that. That's not... I'm actually not the fastest reader, maybe 25 to 30 minutes. I don't know. But I can find that. I can do that in how I use my time. The few times that I'm by myself, I can find a way to do that. Like I don't need that. We don't need a concert about that. The one that I thought was kind of surprising, and I don't know if it was the mind space I've been in recently or kind of how we've talked about it or how I've talked about my therapist, but I was like, I need to find time like every day to either be in meditation or prayer. And I was like, all right. I'm like, you continue to bring up religion, not necessarily religion, but spirituality, and then how you want to, you know, engage and find a church and feel like that void is missing in your life. And I guess me thinking about it, I was like, all right, well, what does that look like for me? And is it prayer? Is it meditation? What is that? Why do I think that's necessary? I think that is thinking about like how to have contemplative time and time to think about the bigger picture or where I'm at and get in tune with where I'm at, maybe be grateful for certain things, maybe question certain things. And I thought that was, I don't know. I was like, didn't expect to write that as I was going through it, but I thought that one was like, I think that would be healthy for me. And if in concert we are finding a church and it's like me on this, maybe a bit of a spiritual or religious journey, how that factors into what I think is important, for me and for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw that one when you wrote that down too, and thought that like was pleasantly surprised that it was like in meditation or prayer. So I thought that was cool. But as we're watching the Nobody Wants This show about a rabbi who falls in love with a woman who's not sure what she even
Shiksa,
believes.
say it, girl. A shiksa.
Well, no, I was saying not even sure what she believes religiously. I don't know how to say that anyways. I just learned that. It's your journey. So I'm not pushing it on you. I do want it to be your journey, but I do think that there is a want there too, as you hear some of what I say and share. So yeah, I thought that was cool. I think it's going to be interesting to figure out it's almost like in some ways whimsical to dream out the long-term goals, because there are some practical ones. It's like, the financial freedom and what we want out of career and things like that. But, when I was sitting there doing 10 years and I'm like, wow, Dace would be almost 12 years old. What in the world does that look like? And what other kids do we have?
You saw I put on there, right?
I did. We're going to have a fight about it later.
Second and final child. To go 4-on-2 is just... you run a double team at somebody to obstruct the process of a team. To go 4-on-2 in life. I don't know how my parents went 5-on-2. I don't know how the hell
my
they
issue with
did
you
it.
writing have second and final child.
I said it with someone a smile. Like I was doing it for your reaction, but go ahead. But no,
that's what I was
it's honestly
hoping.
what I want, but I was writing that line.
My
for your
thought
reaction.
is, if I have to be open to only having one more, you have to be open to having more than one more.
The whole time, of course, I'm open because you're just gonna complain about it after the fact. Dude, literally, you'll be in the hospital with hopefully, if we're grateful enough, I think if we're fortunate enough to have that happen, you'll be in the hospital holding said baby, and then look up and be like, "Can't we do this again?"
Yeah,
I know, and that's
And
gonna
that's
be
what happened last
manipulative and
it's gonna be manipulative.
and planned. And
How's that
intentional.
manipulative? That was
'Cause
literally my
the emotional
genuine reaction. You were holding Dace for the first time. I had just given birth, and all I could think of is like, I would do this 1,000 more times. I said 100. But I would. I still would do it even on the hard days.
Funny because we are such I wouldn't do it once. I have no interest in doing one.
But you don't know.
It seems like
you
the hardest, most challenging thing I can ever possibly fathom.
It is
doing that.
But you can't imagine
The whole process. The whole thing.
The feeling that baby is here all of a sudden, the physical feeling, the emotional feeling, the rush of endorphins and everything else when that baby is here. There is no high like that. Oh my God, my baby's here, especially experiencing it the first time. And I'm sure you feel it every single time. I would still do it 100 more times.
Well, you'll never know what it's like to stand there by the bed and see the baby come out and your body be totally
see the baby come out.
No,
You're very much, I'm staying above the equator.
Folks, can we keep some mystery here? Do I need to see all that? I don't think I need that. I know what I like. I know what I love, and I don't need to see that other situation. So I'm good. But that was, you don't know what it feels like to have your mind and body not be affected for 10 months, and then boom, the baby's here, and you just told you'll be the cheerleader. You don't know what that feels like.
It's true.
It's quite remarkable. I'll tell you what.
Yes. So I did notice that you said and final. So you have to be open to it. I do think it's interesting. I think it's.
Do you want me to go below the equator? Was that a point of contention?
No.
I feel like you were fine within the moment, but what?
Yeah. No. I mean, I like to joke with you about it because you were so I don't. Everything down there is good, and I don't want to have a different perspective of it. And I like where we're at right now.
Walk around to grab something. I was just like, oh boy. Can't look.
So scared. Meanwhile, they're like, do you want to touch the head? I'm like, yeah, cool.
God, that was crazy. The whole thing is crazy.
It's just all crazy. It really is. But I will say, I do think, like you said, if we're blessed enough to have another child, hopefully we are, that I want to be in it before we decide, because everybody says that you're surprised by how much easier it is the second time around. And I understand that for you, it's the third time around, but it is the second time around with us in this stage of life. And knock on wood, but man, I don't know how much harder than the last year it can be with the job stuff, with the no help stuff, with trying to hire people.
Don't speak that into existence.
I know, but I'm just saying, we've been through, that's why I said knock on wood, because there are other obviously challenging things. But I mean, from a parenting standpoint, the challenges of not having childcare, trying to hire somebody, our jobs keep changing, all of these things. Doing that for the first time, I feel like the second time together, obviously, because it's the third time for you, but the second time together, I just feel like we're going to have more of a groove. And I feel like we're going to have help, because at that point you have, two all the time. And then, Lyra, the half the week that we have her as well. I just feel like it'll be different.
I think that's wishful thinking. Just to say it gets
maybe
like
we're
you have to. Well, that boom. The biggest, the one of the most like under discussed things with people wanting to have more kids or a larger family. I'm on like in theory, even when you have more money makes everything easier. Does not make your life necessarily
more money,
happy.
more problems.
That's the exact opposite of what I'm saying, but thank you. It's the more money you have, the more things can become easy in what you're doing. It does not necessarily guarantee your happiness, does not guarantee a good marriage, but it can create an ease by which to have less stress by which you are dealing with work, life, and multiple kids. And in today's society, it is precluding, preclusive is not a word. It's like, it is inhibiting how much money it takes to raise these kids now, especially where we live in the northeast part of the country, 45 miles outside of New York City. Like the cost of living here is super high. Like my parents had 5 kids in Pittsburgh, now stretched out over 12 years. But I don't know how the hell they did it, but in the 80s and 70s into the 80s, it was a whole hell of a lot cheaper. Mm-hmm. And life was different. It wasn't free range parenting. It's just what you did. Mm-hmm. We just went out and played in the yard and came back 8 hours later. We don't do that anymore. And that's the part. I think I would love to find a way in which like our town and society would try to like buck that and be like, nah, man, you can take your bike and just go down there and I'll see you later. And if we need them, it's like, I'll call Michelle and ask them where they are. Let's call, their parents and ask them where they're at. Just like, I would love to do it like my parent, like my mom primarily, in terms of like knowing where we're at. Dad was working a lot. I'm sure Dad had any clue what was going on, but like, they'll be okay. The problem is that half the stuff we do is we obsess with their time, their happiness, activities. We are always there. And that, I think, is part of the problem with having more kids. It's the money and how we parent in today's society that makes me be like, yeah, I'm not dying to do that. Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation last night about your boy over here. Got some selfish tendencies. Like parenting is just giving, giving, giving. I get it. And I'm down to do it for one more. To add another one onto that seems like, how in the hell do we have any time for ourselves or each other within that context of how this thing is now structured in this world?
Dear God, please slap down in the face with twins the next time we hopefully have babies. Amen.
You know what? I would take twins and we're done. Because then we can have a conversation anymore. It's like, let's live through that pain for a while. Let's figure that out. Let's find a groove and we're done here. We're snipping this thing over here. You're done. Yeah, you're done. We're snipping up. We're good for life, and I'll be all right.
I would love to have twins. I mean, it would be insane, but I always wanted to be a twin, so I think that would be really cool. I wanted a twin just for athletic purposes. I wanted to have somebody equally athletic as me to compete and to challenge me and to try to make me better. That's interesting. That's what I like. I wanted like an analog. So cool to like have another, because Brian and I were like so close that we were basically twins anyway. So then I was like, what would it be like to have a real twin?
2 of my best friends growing up were twins. They both were hockey players. One got drafted with the Penguins. One played in the league below the NHL. Never got to the NHL, but like they were. When I always looked at them, like now granted they were freaking insane, and then we're talking like picking up the hockey sticks, like swinging each other's heads, like they were wild, but. They were, that was when I looked at them like, man, that would be pretty cool to have, mm-hmm. That's it's your brother, it's your roll dog for life. But like we're out here, I'm working on my game, you're working on your game. Like we are going to make each other better in how I was raised in that hyper competitive environment. Yeah. Like it would have yielded, an interesting outcome, I think.
That's, I guess is one maybe upside of having twins. You said something else. I do think that like we're just not, like when you say like you want to raise our kids like our parents did and then be able to go play. I do think that happens. I just think we're not in that stage yet. Like there are kids around this neighborhood. Really? I do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
At like 8 and 9. Like that's basically where Lyra's encroaching on. Like Lyra, you can run down to, Lyra, you can go up to Ronan's house. It's, that's a block, a turn. I mean, it's not close, but you're cool.
I'm not saying I'm cool now, but I'm just saying that I do think that like, I don't know, 8 or 9 sounds aggressive, but I do think that it happens. I don't know how early, and I'm trying to think back to when I did, but
we were like 8 and 9. I could go to Mike's house. I could go to the up to.
You could ride bikes around the
bike
block.
Up there. I could ride up the hill.
Now these kids are out here riding electric bikes and scooters and crap and stuff. I'm like, What?
Well, there was like somebody who just told me they got their kid an electric scooter, and I was just like, the studies in there are so unsafe. Like, I'm like, now I want them to go have fun, but like normal powered fun. If you want a scooter, your leg has to push you, so you can get hurt, but you can only. It's like
Get
you can
off
go
my lawn.
so hurt. Like you want to have a bike, you got to pedal that bike, and you can really ding down a bike, but you got to be pushing to do that.
Yeah.
Versus a machine, you just lose control of
I
that
know.
thing.
It's crazy. When we were at the beach playground that one day and we saw these like 12-year-old boys just zipping around on their things, I was like, oh my God, that's going to be my baby. That's crazy. Okay, so we have some things to think through still tonight. I feel good that we at least are doing it. I still want to actually figure out like what are we writing down on, like what do I want to see every day that we're like working towards? And then what are some of the other ones? I want to figure out a little bit more of what that looks like. And I think that we can do that.
Guess what this is going to yield to, by the way? Because there is no room in this house that is off limits to Lyra. Like, Lyra just goes wherever she wants. I say that to, again, how I grew up. I, like, never went in my parents' bathroom. Like,
really?
Never went. Like, you're not going in there. It's not our spot, not our space. Like, if I went in their room, and when they weren't there, or if I'm going to, like, is mom and I would knock. Like, that girl just busts into whatever she wants. So, like, it just does not make a difference. My point in saying that is where these things are hung up so that she will see them. And then we're going to have those conversations with her. So I imagine this is an exercise we're going to do with her too, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a cool thing that I hadn't even thought of. You're right. Because especially when she's not really into sports and involved in it, I think like her setting goals and thinking about things that she wants, even if it's like, I want to be a famous singer, like she always says.
Yeah, but
cool, that's
that
a goal.
us,
so then let's figure out like if this is the goal, if you want to be a fashion designer, like you say, if you want to be whatever. I'm curious if she ever changes her mind on being a mom.
We had this conversation. We had both these conversations last night.
Oh, you did? What did you say?
So the first one was I was looking up musical theater classes earlier in the day. And then I was about to eat dinner. She was eating her like dessert or whatever she ate earlier. She went to their bathroom, and then I had popped it up. The computer screen was still up or something. I just had opened the computer, and she went, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm looking at musical theater class. Do you want to do that?" She's like, "Yeah. Remember, I already did a performance last year, and I was the narrator." And I'm like, "Yeah, you were really good. You had a bunch of lines. You remember them. You worked hard, memorized them. You worked hard." So I was like, "Yeah, this is like an investment. They aren't cheap, but it's like, all right, like this is something that she is truly passionate about that she would really enjoy." And maybe that continues to open her eyes to a path of which something she really wants to do, at least as a child. And if it ever becomes something she really wants to do, that's great. If it doesn't, who cares? This is what she seems to be really into right now. And when I was explaining that to her, and I said something about being a parent, and she's like, "Well, I'm just going to adopt. I'm not going to have a baby." And I said, "Baby, what?" And she's like, "It's just, I don't like that, that thinking about the pain of that a baby coming out of my vagina." And I'm like, all right, the fact that you know the word, it's okay, medical term, got it. And I'm like, yeah, but I would say this though, like for your mommy and for Kels, and I know my mommy and most mommies, it's kind of the most amazing, special thing they've ever done. So even as it is so hard and so challenging and really is painful, because you say how much it would hurt, I don't think they would ever trade it. It's the best thing they've ever done. And that's how you got here. And she was like, "Okay, well, how do babies get made?" So,
oh no.
In my head, I was like, "We're not ready for this." So I was like, when two people are in love, they can make a baby. They can create a baby. And I was just like, how do we get the hell off of this? I was like, we're not ready for this one yet. But that took an interesting turn. But the fact that, yes, she has contemplated that and has this desire to not feel that pain.
She said that for a long time, because we would talk about when I was pregnant. She'd be like, "No, well, I know what's going to happen. I don't want to, that doesn't sound good to me." I'm like, okay. But she is somebody who's like, she's very like risk averse. She's very like, if it's fearful or dangerous or scary, like, don't do it. Going back to mom and dad being here, they dressed up as ghosts on the front porch. It was mom's idea, which turned out to be awesome. But I was like, okay, you can be a ghost, but you cannot scare her, because she will never forgive you guys if she thinks she's walking up to a decoration, all of a sudden that decoration grabs her. Like, she will not recover from that. And every time that she sees them, she'd be like, "Remember when you scared me?" So they didn't scare her. So it was sweet. But yeah, I think maybe that's where it comes from. She has mentioned adopting before too, so I'm interested to see how that evolves or doesn't evolve as well for her in her life.
Yeah, but I think it's like goal. But we said it when we started this conversation last pod about like, did we set goals as kids? And I think as productive as it is, like that was kind of a miss. I had them already in my head. I think even, Lyra writing them down or having thoughts as she gets into 10, 11, 12, 13. Because even if you're not going to, if it's not like I want to be X job or I want to do Y thing, it's what am I focused on trying to attain and achieve and challenge myself? I've talked to her a lot about that the last week or so about challenging yourself. And I think that's something that we got to like bake into her more. Because I do think those things happen when you're into sports and you care about sports. That's not going to be her area of passion. I still want her to play team sports, maybe put her in soccer, see how it goes. I think like tennis would be interesting. Although my girl can't catch a cold, so I don't know how her hand-eye coordination is going to be with a racket in her hand, but we might find out. I think there's just so much to be gained there, but I don't think that's naturally where she wants to be. So how do you foster this a work ethic and a thing from a parental side that makes them challenged and want to attain things when it isn't through the prism of sports, which is all I've ever known my whole life and the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. I think searching for ways to have her involved in teamwork, team building activities is probably a good thing. And that can be from a play because as much as your lines are individual, it's everybody coming together to do things. She's super smart. Is she going to be in the math club? Is she like, you know what I mean? Like there are, besides just sports, I think for us, and let's be honest, if sports are a social setting, our girls in. Like, if her buddies are doing it, then
that's why I think like the soccer thing she's going to want to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of girls that do that. And some of the moms, I was talking about some of the other activities on Halloween that their kids are doing. So while she might not be trying to play soccer, basketball, softball, whatever for the rest of her life, tennis, if she knows XYZ friends are doing it, then she would want to be involved. And I think at that age, it's good just because, again, you're around an atmosphere that's like teamwork and team building. And if she likes it, she likes it. If she doesn't, she doesn't.
Can I take this in one different direction real quick?
Yeah.
Dace really likes to dribble that soccer ball, and I'm trying to temper my excitement about it.
I know he really does.
He really
Try
does.
not to like make it a big deal.
And I'm not. I don't want to be that dad. I won't be that dad, but I don't want to even be.
Look at my 18-month-old and 17-month-olds already dribbling.
I'd never be that dad. I want to be like my dad, just sat in the crowd. You watch, you support, you help them get better. But like you're not. I'm not yelling and running around. Or if you coach the team in a certain way. That's probably for me. It's a basketball thing, but it's more about assuming because he like wanting him to like that. Like I don't even want to get to the place of like wanting him to like that. I hope it just comes naturally. And Lord knows there's enough soccer on the TV these days where we have that he's watching. He likes to dribble the ball around. We ran around the other day with your mom and dad and him with the soccer ball. He had a great time at the playground. But yeah, I'm trying to like reserve myself to not get too excited. Like, man, I really hope this dude likes this. So that's a whole different kettle of fish. But I love watching him dribble it around.
But we will always have balls in the house. Balls are allowed in the house.
Yes, they absolutely. Shoes aren't. Shoes off, but you dribble that ball.
Shoes not.
I want to see your socked feet. There you
go. Real quick, as you were talking and we were talking about goals and stuff, I was sitting here thinking like, are there dangers in goals? Like, dangers of a dream. Like, can you get too focused and just tunnel vision, depending on what it is? Because, setting goals, I think, is important, but I think you can also like, there has to be a balance of like some leeway of like, how do I attain this goal without like obsessing over it so that other things don't fall through the cracks?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really fair. I think that's kind of one, like why being on the same page is really important because you need your partner to check you at times and be like, or check you and also be like, are you sure this path is the right path? Do you think, I know you think it is, but like, do you want to pressure test this a little bit? You want to talk about it? You want to look at it from, here's a different perspective that helps you realize, okay, no, it is, or maybe it's not, maybe the course correct. Or if it's about, time management, efficiency, how the family fits in, like this may be a thing you really think is important and we talked about before, but how we're going about it or how you're going about it may need to be different because this is what I'm seeing. So I do think it's like in anything, like any type of excess or obsession on something probably doesn't yield great results for the collective. If you're talking about like family or individual or team, when you're just looking at it from your point of view. So I think that's a good point and something to keep in mind, I think, as we're going through this.
Yeah, I just think as we're sitting here too, like goal-oriented people that now are going to be even more focused and driven. It's like, okay, not letting those big picture things. And you had a lot of things that were just like family and being present written down in your goals as well, for what you want. So I don't think that like any of our everyday life takes a hit. Like the goal is that having these goals like enhances our life in other ways.
It's the hope. And I do think part of why I'm writing those things down is because I do think if we're making this plan to try to achieve these different things and we're on the same page, there are going to be conversations. All right, how do we do this? Like how should my time be allocated here or here? But within that, there is still like showing up as a good dad, being present when you're here. Like those things are really important. And I'm talking obviously for myself, I can lose sight of those things. I have in a previous marriage. I think I lost sight of that, and there were reasons for that. But there is, to be a reminder of, for lack of a better term, like what's really important. And some of the goals are going to be important things we want to do, and how. But I think it's more about how we want to live our life is kind of the broader goal, I guess.
All right, goals are out there. TBD on how they go, when they get put up. Maybe by the next podcast they'll be on the mirror.
I hope that's the case. We'll talk about it tonight. I will say, as we move forward, hopefully the next podcast, you maybe wear something that covers your thighs. I don't know if we're going to get there, but 2 for 2 right now. Just
maybe I'll wear my wedding ring too.
That's love right there, folks. High thigh and no ring. Back to Instagram.
I've just started taking it off. Give my finger a little break, and I don't like taking it off because I forget to put it on. So I love you.
I'm gonna give my finger break my head off for the day.
No, put that thing back on, you turd.
You turd. Okay.
Turd.
We done here?
That's where my brain went.
Yeah. It's good.
See you next week.
Later.